Welcome to BleedTV, the only podcast today's best shows and movies. I'm Zach.
I'm Jake.
And I'm Cash.
And tonight we have, I'm excited to say, Walking Dead back with us tonight.
I don't know, that was a deep moan before you came into it. It was like,
That makes one of us.
There it is, the D-bag already. He is alive and well, gentlemen. Yes, Walking Dead in Season 8, Episode 1. Go ahead and do the credits here. Who was our director? Was this...
Nicotero.
Nicotero.
You know, not necessarily, as we were saying beforehand, his standard episode.
Yeah, no, not the typical. And of course, Gimple wrote this one, is what I understand, according to the Talking Dead afterwards. But
Mercy is what it's called.
Yeah, but then that's Mercy, which it says...
Which please have mercy on
in
us
one
this
line
season.
of the entire episode, so I guess that's where they got it from. So this was the big Season 8, 100th episode, giant premiere. Did it feel that way when you got done watching it?
No. I mean, it felt like I was still sleeping, and I woke up and had a beard.
I didn't have a lot of major... I didn't have any major problems with this episode.
No.
I thought it was a pretty... I thought it was, Walking Dead standards, pretty quality episode. Did it feel like some epic 100th season opening start to a war episode? Not really.
Yeah, I think they did a lot of really good things with the episode, but it's almost like it needed to be an hour and 15 to get a little bit more into the, I guess a more monumentous. I don't know how to explain it. I know what you're saying. A lot of people said the episode was really good, just not great.
Yeah,
I think a lot of have the high expectation of the 100th episode.
I feel like Walking Dead hit its expectation exactly for me. Because, once again, there are some things in there that just forehead slappers. It's just what? Yeah. What? But then other parts, it's like, oh, that was cool. That was unexpected. That was well done. That played out, a little more, cool than I expected it to turn out.
Absolutely.
But then there's always they just sprinkle in these just atrocious moments.
I know, real head scratchers.
It makes me so angry that somebody's not just tapping them on the shoulder and like, hey man, edit that out because that's a total error.
We misfired right there.
Yeah.
I know it. I know exactly what you feel like, and that's what I felt like. I guess I was thinking, I tried not to go into the episode with huge expectations because it was the 100th episode, but this is all out war. We did the whole prequel,
which had a lot of information sprinkled into this episode,
right? Yeah, which I swear, if y'all didn't catch the episode we did before this on the podcast, you will see that most everything we've hit is on the money almost.
Let's not lowball us. We're 100% still. We're keeping that as long as we can.
Yeah, okay. But anyway, bottom line is last year, this time everybody was chomping at the bit to find out who was getting the bat to the head. Mm-hmm. Okay. And that episode, think about it. All of us went to watch it live and then potted right after, and it was such a big deal. This one didn't carry that same kind of weight.
No, it didn't have any
it didn't have a cliffhanger.
No.
And I get that. It's almost like last year's would have been a better 100th episode. If you follow what I'm saying, of course, the 100th episode is also when Glenn died in the comic books too. So, it's could have correlated a little better, but it is what it is,
Also, we could have just killed one or two people and just made it. I don't understand why you hold that in your back pocket for next.
That was my biggest surprise of the episode, was that we didn't have anybody die. Usually when it's your monumental episodes, usually there is a death, typically.
And I don't want to get into our spoiler preview cast at all, but from the knowledge we gained from that episode from you, Zach, I was expecting in certain moments for something to happen, and I was like
you're dead.
I was like, oh, you're dead. Wait, you made it? Oh, you're dead for sure. And then it's
now that we're here,
when it didn't happen, that was the anticipation I was getting. Not if I didn't have that going in, the episode would have been even lesser for me, I think.
But see, that's me. I know exactly what you're talking about,
yeah.
and I was like, do it! Do it!
Oh, yeah.
His face blown off.
Oh, yeah. As soon as it happened, I was like, yes, this is going to be great.
I was like, So, but you know what that tells me, though? That we're going to get that possibly the next episode or two.
They're definitely setting up some things. Like I said, I just don't want to go into it too much because I don't want anybody to have that same thing that don't want it. But, oh, man, there was some moments just like, Oh, you're greased.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you're greased.
Look, so y'all need to understand. See, me have read every comic book and knowing everything like that, you can see how like my anticipation for an episode is quite a bit different than y'all's.
Yes.
Oh, definitely.
It was like us with Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
We were like,
Exactly,
just wait.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think Game of Thrones does a much better job of creating anticipation, even if you're not a book knowledge person. Where The Walking Dead is like what the feelings you're getting. You know what I mean? So I think that's the difference.
And I think, it's hard to an HBO show versus an AMC show. It's two totally different ball games.
Oh yeah.
But the remixes that Thrones does, I think, I don't know for sure from Walking Dead. We've talked about the comic books, but you've told me that the remixes that the show has done are not as good as the comic book.
No, and I've told this to anybody who will listen. I mean, I love the characters that we've created in the show. Like I love seeing these guys and what happens because I anticipate where it's going. But the comic book storyline, it is 100 times better. I mean, just 100. The difference in the show, the reason people love the show so much, in my opinion, is because you love Carol, you love Daryl, you love Rick, you love Michelle, they've done a really good job of making you really freaking love these characters.
Yeah.
Not so much the storyline that they're going through, but the characters you love. That's why you're so upset if you lose one.
Yeah, I mean, we tune in to hang out with formerly Glenn, Maggie, Rick, and all of them.
You want to see how your favorite characters are moving through this whole deal and the drama entwined. In the comic book, every page you have no idea what's going to happen next, and it's completely just off the wall. It's a little more violent. It's a little bit more blurs the line of acceptability, the whole 9 yards, and there's more. Which
is something as a comic you never had to struggle with was acceptability or censorship or anything like that.
Exactly. Like Negan is 20 times worse in the comic books than what you're getting on TV. But the TV can't do what he does in the comic book. I mean, that's just the way it is, The governor was, not in a different planet better than the one that was on the TV show.
Well, that was a huge misstep.
It was a huge fumble. I mean, it was just a huge fumble.
I mean, the governor was good for like 7 or so episodes, but
I think he started off strong, but then they bled it out.
Yeah.
It was woof.
No, it was that season finale they did where they just shoot up the whole busload of his people and then just take off.
Yeah.
It was the worst finale we have ever had, I think, on the show. Because you were just like, what the hell?
That's what we're getting.
But I don't want to get too far sidetracked, you know what I'm saying, from the episode we're covering, but it's just, like I said, I feel like it hit just right on the nose, Walking Dead expectations, the show.
It did.
Like it hits baseline stuff. It just didn't hit necessarily the 100 grandiose episode that we were expecting.
Right. And like I'm telling, like Jake was saying earlier, if you did not listen to our preview to this, and you're not a person of big spoiler, don't. I mean, really don't. But I'm telling you,
go back and listen to it at the end of the season. If you go back and
listen to, if you missed it, didn't realize it, and don't mind knowing where the comic book is taking you with this, and so on. I don't get me wrong. Now the show right now is following the comic book content area pretty strong.
Yes.
One episode into All Out War, we can all agree that based on our preview cast that it's gone this way already.
Pretty shockingly, it was spot on because we thought some of this stuff wasn't going to happen.
Correct. And of course they've remixed it a little bit. You know what I mean? But I'm telling you, you'll have a greater anticipation knowing what's going, because even the preview for next week showed a little clip about something that confirms what we talked about last week as well. So
okay.
I'm going to leave that alone. But let's get into the episode itself. Overall, what would you say was the biggest positives of the episode?
I mean, I'm always a fan of paying homage to yourself. And so like the Carl introduction scene that was going back to season 1. And like almost like him just taking the same exact steps, setting the hat down and everything. Right. Loved it.
I did there was several of those. I mean, you see the flower that Carol sees, and you see the
Morgan stuff.
Yeah, there was several of those.
I think probably the strongest thing was some of the camera work. I'd say was kind of new, like the Rick point of view shots through the metal, that's attached to the cars and stuff. Looking at Negan, I thought that was pretty cool. Just the way how they'd open a scene or close a scene, I thought was pretty cool with the camera work.
I thought the zombies, this one, like they didn't go like to try to create new zombies. They just went back to doing really well done.
Yeah, classics.
Walkers, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like the one that was
white. It's right there by the fence, and one was like missing half his. You could see just
the skin. Yeah, the skin on his jaw.
And his chest and stuff was like in there.
It was really well done.
Yeah.
I mean, like the ones that were blown up after the RV, and you saw the rib cage and with like parts hanging. I mean, it was well done.
It went back towards season 1 in that
like
sense.
the practical effects were really spot on this episode. I thought that I was really proud to see that. I had a hard time finding CG.
Okay. We've seen walkers now that are like, they're rotting away.
Yes.
They're like desiccated. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
like
yeah.
we've seen the ones that are literally like, they just look like walking bones.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Because they're literally
The army of the
rotting.
dead, yes,
they're
yeah.
dead. But I'm saying that the skin, the muscle, everything's
Yes.
rotting away.
Like they've just been left out in
How
the sun too
much
long.
longer will walkers be around?
That's a good question.
Well,
'cause-
as long as there's a living population, I guess you're always going to have different levels. But
Yeah,
your numbers. See, the timeline is always a big issue for me. Is that if you are dead, realistically, somebody in the medical profession, tell me how long it takes if you're exposed just to the natural elements outside. How long before your body's completely decayed and gone?
Yeah, we're already over the physics of it or whatever, the
Right.
biology of the fact that they wouldn't be able to move if they were dead. Whatever, all that crap aside.
Right.
I'm just saying, like, tissue.
Exactly.
It will rot
how long,
away.
How long until that tissue's gone?
Right,
And
because like you're saying, the Dwight zombie is not terribly old.
No.
It's a pretty new walker.
I'm saying he's a month old, maybe 2.
Maybe maybe even longer, but I'm just saying
Yeah.
we've seen the range of what looks like a 2-year walker, you know what I mean?
Correct.
But the thing is, we've seen what looks like a 2-year walker.
Yeah.
Correct.
But I mean, I think part of that's just being literally hung onto a fence with metal and stuff holding you down than the elements and stuff. So I think that's going to kind of
I mean, like I
age
remember the
it
episode where
faster.
they had like one that would look like skeletons stuck to a tree and moss had grown to it.
Exactly. That's
You
what
know
I'm talking
I mean?
about. Yeah.
Like I mean, like that one looked like it hasn't left or moved. The head could barely move and twist. I mean, like I know what you're saying.
to go back to the one with the governor, the one that came out of that clay field and everything and attacked the little girl.
Yeah, I mean,
And it's just like that thing looked old. But I mean, we saw older versions. The one that Morgan stabbed in the back of the head, he put no force into that, just glided right through like a knife through butter.
yeah. And I'm with you on that. I'm totally with you. That's me. I thought the walkers really well done. I thought the practical effects were real well done.
No, the effects are great. Like I said, I'm just
Curious on
my walker stuff is what gets me the most crazy a little bit on this show because they just don't follow their own rules a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Well, and I think part of it is just like sometimes we have brand new walkers mixed in with old walkers, and that's what kind of makes it harder to say how old some of them are, is because it could be a newer one in the batch that they end up fighting versus an older one or something like that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, my biggest complaint about the episode is going to have to do with the walkers, and
Oh no, my biggest complaint is the Rick hairpiece of the old man.
we'll get there
it is-
too.
I'm gonna be honest with you. The entire the entire daydreaming of him as the old man, Santa Claus, Father Time,
Miserable.
with
Oh.
Michonne that doesn't age.
And I hate the soap opera glow they put on the camera.
I mean, I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, I
You know,
can believe
I-
Michonne not aging like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, like,
I
don't cry.
just, it was a complete fumble to me. The whole old man Rick thing. I mean, to me, that tells me that it makes me feel like we're not going to do the time jump down the road. Because as bad as he looked, as bad as that hairpiece was, and as bad as all that, please God, please don't let it turn to that.
No, I think that is exactly where we're going. Unfortunately,
I'm just being honest. That is atrocious. I mean,
They Tarantino'd this. I'm telling you, I feel like in 3 different timelines. We got the
God.
timeline that we're in. You know what I mean? Where they're actually going to see
Yeah.
Negan. They kept showing the timeline where Rick is sweating really bad and his eyes are reddened and he's got like a glare that keeps flashing in his face.
Yeah.
right, like he's thinking something like
He just witnessed something terrible.
and he saw. He makes that statement. Have mercy on me for the wrath that I have. All that stuff. Yeah,
That part, and then future Rick.
correct.
I think that's 3 different timelines that we'll be dealing with through this season.
I agree with you. I just think the old man Rick, the way it was presented to us with the, like you said, the soap opera glow,
Yeah.
his god awful hairpiece, Michonne that doesn't age, a child that looks nothing like the Judith that we've seen in the
No,
past.
Judith has been deleted from.
How about the Judith we got this episode?
Oh, another.
What is she, 2 years older now?
I mean, there was the continuity of this. It was just like, stop it.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's like the one thing they struggle with season to season to season, they never fix. It's like the inside joke of this show.
Is it too much to show the cane and to show the old man Rick? I mean, the bottom line is you guys are not comic book readers, so you have no idea what that means.
No, absolutely.
But if you're a comic book reader, that is enormous material. When I say enormous, I mean enormous.
Huh.
Well, I mean,
yeah, I don't know.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like,
so maybe they don't plan on doing it at all, and so they just want to throw it out there.
I think you kind of have to, based on if you're following the comic book, But to me, it hurt this episode to put that in there.
I mean, it was a waste of time that we could have gotten more of what we wanted, which was actual starting of the war.
It's like I want to go ahead and get rid of the shock and awe of the future.
no, sometimes I think they're just getting a little cute. Like I said, I think that was literally 3 timelines we got to see.
I 100% agree with you. There's no doubt that him being emotional and crying, that is something we're going to see either at the mid-season finale or at the very end of the season before this all wraps. We're going to see that timeline and why he's saying that and so on. There's absolutely no doubt.
Yeah, I think that's what we're dealing with.
And so was his big rally speech in the crying timeline, or
no? The rally speech is with the normal timeline.
Oh,
that's
God.
before they went to Negan.
The only time you have the third timeline,
okay,
you have present
I just got
old man Rick
with
in that third one where he's like against the tree and he's like, have mercy for the wrath, all that stuff. That was the only time you see that was him crying by the tree.
Okay, because
like
the
you see a
rallying
scene with a
speech,
stained glass window hanging over his head. That's a big clue to whatever that stained glass window is that's hanging over him on that tree. That's the only 3 times you see him. 2 times he's not speaking, and the last one is where he says the sign about the mercy thing.
They gave you a little more each time they showed him. First time they show him is literally just basically on his face, and his eyes are all red, and you could tell he's been crying.
Second time you saw him, you actually saw the tree, and that he was leaning against it.
And then
the
third time
you saw the window hanging, and then he said something.
Okay,
So that you got very little from that.
I just got confused because we brought in the speech at the end of the episode again, and I was like, wait.
No. That's all. That speech was all before they went to Negan. Yeah,
right, and that's completely different things. Like you see the speech, and then they come back, and you see them rallying to come back together, and then that one's when the speech is posted. Like there was a lot of back and forth.
Yeah.
It was very Tarantino-esque.
And I got a little confused with it, and I was like, so maybe this sunk into the other timeline. That would have made more sense to me.
Me being the detail guy, there was the whole like I can't stand like we're past the walkers and the physical and physics and all that stuff, but like one of the things they show is them putting armor on cars and getting things ready, which I don't get me wrong, I think it's cool they're putting armor on cars, but they were also putting corrugated tin roof as armor on your cars. And I hate to tell you that if you threw a penny hard enough, it can almost go through one.
Oh, yeah. I didn't see this stuff. I thought it was the dumbest thing in the world. I was like, this isn't bulletproofing your thing. I
built many sheds and playhouses and different things in a former business and former life, and so on. I mean, this stuff right here, one good whack with a hammer and a nail goes right through it. And so a high velocity .223 round from an assault rifle or anything else.
Yeah.
This thing looks like Swiss cheese.
It's going through it just like the car door.
Car that it was attached to as well, by the way. And by the way, the school bus has the thinnest material of any of those things.
No, the best looking badass one was the Winnebago.
Oh, yeah.
And it had like full sheet steel on the front of it.
Yeah, like plate steel.
Exactly. So I hated that some cars were properly protected.
Well, one car was properly protected.
And, no, there was other ones that had sheet metal, that had like a perfect cutout in them and stuff like that, which was also kind of surprising that you could have the capabilities of having perfect cutout metal. But anyway, long story short, we'll move on from that.
We had an expert welder, too, so I mean...
Right. Well, I mean, the Hilltop's got somebody who's blacksmithing, but we got somebody evidently who has arc welder and, stick welder, MIG welders, and all the tools of trade. Anyway,
I mean that would be very hard to find, really. I mean, as long as you had power, which they have.
Yeah. So that's what I'm getting at. Like, I hated that some of the cars were protected with non-protective material, and then when they're shooting, when they do have the gun battle, it's ding, 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 ding.
No, it was like it worked like a charm, and I was like, no.
Well, no, they really only showed bullets ting-tinging off stuff that was actual steel.
Right.
The tin roof stuff, you never got to see it deflecting rounds. But you know that one time where you see they're basically driving the Winnebago, it's pinging rounds,
Yeah, you
which
see
it
coming off
would.
from- exactly.
That's the only one you see reflecting around.
Well, wasn't Father Gabriel's car at the end? Wasn't that just tin roof stuff?
Yes.
And so,
But was any bullets hitting it? I don't remember.
I
remember
they were
walkers all
shooting-
around
They were
it.
shooting up that concrete thing he was behind like crazy. I mean, the only time I ever saw a car like taking bullets was the bad guy's car when they were attacking the outpost before he threw the grenade. That
Oh, you mean that massive waste of ammunition?
yes,
Yeah.
I mean, what I thought was crazy is there was 12 of them shooting full auto, and I could count about 15 bullets to hit the car
Didn't matter. It was just a massive waste of ammunition.
for one dude who gets under a car,
I didn't understand. That was a weird scene altogether.
dude. And then to abruptly end it,
And then to end it right there,
I was just like,
okay.
it's like, all right.
see, like that's one of those head slappers. Like, wait a minute, this can't be the end of the episode. Let's talk about Carol. This is like a mini cliffhanger, but not really.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, let's get back to the order of the episode. All right, to shoot an arrow into Dwight's tire.
Loved it.
I mean, it's a very cool effect. I thought it was really neat. What are the odds of it happening?
None.
Slim,
They go through the
because it
fence
went
perfectly.
through a chain link
Yeah.
fence and hit the tire perfectly.
It's even still ridiculous what Dwight does after that.
He shoots back to the chain link and hits the pallet next
But he
to it.
shoots from the hip, basically.
Yeah, that's
at
not
the
getting
Daryl.
through the fence.
The Daryl just stands there and just like, that bolt won't hit me.
Behind a pallet.
I
It was
know
like,
it, man.
hold on, yeah, pallets are
Holes
no.
in 'em.
It's like shoot from the hip. It's like one gust of wind, that thing eats Daryl's throat out, and just he's done. It's like, oh man,
that note, bitch.
what a stupid way for Daryl to die.
Take a bolt.
Well, I mean, also just like pallet, not what I'm considering bulletproof armor.
If it just hit a bucket of water that would spill it on him and washed his body off. But I mean, really, like you said, the physics don't line up for this either.
No.
You see where Dwight's sitting and where the tire is. It gets hit. He then walks past the motorcycle to the fence line and just from the hip, like he's fucking a sharpshooter, just fires one off the chain link.
I'm surprised he didn't throw the thing on his shoulder and shoot it from behind.
Yeah. I was just like, what in the
It's
world?
just not necessary.
No, but it
You
had
know
a,
what I'm saying? Like, don't do it.
It's not like it's cool enough where the rule of cool fits.
I don't know, it was pretty cool. Like I had a great vibe of being like back in middle school where you're tossing notes and everything.
Oh, I just wish it was cans on a string.
Oh
Just
yeah,
like,
I would have loved if we would see the
Tomorrow.
solo cup.
tomorrow.
If we see a solo cup fly over the thing. Be like, what is this?
Solo cup.
No, you hold it to your ear.
Have to be at the fence to throw the solo cup over.
Hey,
That's like some fucking Hot Shots Part D type stuff. Where it's like, he's like whispering through a chain link fence with a cup. You know what I mean? It's just like, hey man,
Ear to ear.
I can hear you, bro. I'm right here.
we don't need the cup. You put it to your ear.
He's just doing the shh.
Well, I just think about like,
We're not on walkie-talkies. You don't have to make the sound.
Ted 4.
Over.
so here's the thing. We're gonna assume that Daryl is a good clip away. That he can just stand over there and get this.
Yeah.
So we're like you, not to heart, but we're shooting through walkers in
He
the field,
is at
through
least-
a chain link fence, and hits the front tire, which is maybe 3 inches
Yeah.
wide.
With no dip.
This is with something attached to the bolt.
Oh yeah, this wrap of paper that would just throw off all the aerodynamics of this thing.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
it would take off like a parachute. Just flip off of that thing.
That's even better. So the one that hits the tire from Daryl, it was tightly wrapped.
Oh, yeah.
No,
Tightly-
Dwight
Did you
basically
see
just
how
like
Dwight puts
crumbles it back.
It's like crumbled with one rubber band. I was like, and when it hits the pallet, it's nice and tight again. I'm just like,
It's quite a bit of drag on that
Oh, yeah.
bad boy.
details. I mean, damn it. We're talking about the bolt for 5 minutes, but damn it, that's important.
That's the thing. I want to harp on this shit. I don't want to
Yeah.
talk about the good stuff. It's like Jesus, man. Yeah, but no,
At least you got to double wrap the note.
Daryl has to be like a center fielder and him firing from the home plate.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But I mean, he's also going to need a
Because
little
Daryl's
bit
got to
of,
have plenty of time. Like, yeah, that'll hit the pallet. I'm not even going to scoot over. I have faith that this bolt will hit the pallet.
Oh god, now I kind of wish Daryl would have died. Just like,
damn it, hit me in the arm.
I swear I'm on your side.
Yeah,
Yeah, really just hits him in the shoulder. He's like, I'll fucking kill you.
It was an accident.
All right, so then you have Carol and Tara that are on the overpass, and she's got her licorice and her orange glasses.
Which, honestly, Twizzlers still being around at this point in time, not a surprise.
It really is.
Like,
No,
I mean,
that's the one candy for sure that would be
really,
around.
yeah.
that was my thought process. I was like,
And
if
it
Considering we
tastes
know
the
somebody
same.
who used to work in a concession stand and movie theater,
Yeah.
well, let's go ahead and be honest with you. They've never thrown the Twizzlers out from 87.
no, those are the same Twizzlers from '99 when Malco's still open. Surprised we haven't bought more.
No, they'll never change.
Yeah. So the only thing about this scene that kind of drove me crazy, okay, we're from the South, okay. As far as I know, when you look over an over an overpass, right?
Yeah.
Right. It shouldn't look like you're 300 feet to the ground.
No, this is supposed to be Dallas,
Yeah.
where they're on the high five.
Okay. I don't know if y'all realize that, but like when they did one view of this overpass, that overpass had no high arc or anything to it, okay? But then when they looked down, I mean, they were almost ants. I mean, there were some small looking walkers going across there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In comparison to the scenes before where we've dealt with overpasses and different things in this area, there's been nothing compared to, I mean, you look at the narrowness of those lanes and the walkers coming across there. It should not have been like that.
No.
You know, I mean, I even went back and watched, I DVR'd some of the marathon, you know, and I went back and watched a couple, just like fast forward as fast as I could to see if I could find another overpass. Do you remember the episode where Dwight went by himself and the one guy was out there trying to catch the...
I
You
remember that
When it
episode.
falls on him, basically.
Yes. So you remember, I mean, like, there was a scene where you look down, you could only see one lane. This one, you could see both lanes.
I'm not sure it's the same overpass.
I'm not saying that either, but I'm just saying that just a comparison of like,
They're in the same area, so the
there's no
overpasses
need
should be
for that
the-
overpass to be that tall.
No, that was my thing. Was like, it's just a simple overpass. That thing would be, 15 feet off the lane.
Right.
Yeah.
60, yeah, exactly. So, I mean, even if you have say you have 4 foot of concrete, 6, whatever it is like that, so you're not 25 feet over. 25 feet looking down from that camera angle, you don't see both lanes. I mean, and just putting it, I mean, I know that's a small detail, but like, I think it was meant to look that way so you could see a larger mass of the horde coming. Mm-hmm. So it had effect and purpose, but it was not it was not accurate.
Yeah, I think the entire under road and walkers was CG.
It was. It was
know,
totally CG.
Okay. Do we have a problem, like I do, with the walker horde coming to the same place every day at the same time?
Yes.
Yes, I thought that was good. That's something where I felt like that didn't translate well. Like,
There's no way I'm believing they're smart enough to use.
were we supposed to believe that they were going to different overpasses and calculating time?
No.
I'm with you.
Same time.
I
every
was
time.
thinking, what do you think the show's intention was? I don't know. To me, like it going to the same place every time, that
Yeah.
made zero sense to me.
This is, like I said, my absolute failure of the episode right here. So,
Well, not only
what
that,
we're meant
the
to
walking
believe-
speed later
Well,
when
that's my
Daryl's
other
leading him,
massive issue.
it was god awful.
but so they're coming to this overpass, and she's timing it to the number
Yeah.
every day, which means that horde is coming past them, and then at some point later on in the day, totally backtracks to where they came from, so they could then walk back up the highway again.
And we're not leaving them a
What?
food source or anything.
This is what I'm talking about. This is where they don't follow their own rules.
They don't.
They don't backtrack ever.
No, they only move when there is a source or something that attracts them to move.
Yeah, they just move to where the sound is or where the fire is or whatever the case
They'll
may be.
stand still for
Yeah,
ever until they hear something.
absolutely. Until there's something that attracts, they don't go anywhere.
Yeah. What sense does this make? They're not on clockwork.
No.
No.
This made no sense.
And like I thought they were initially timing the saviors because I was like, "There's no way this is going to be zombies because that doesn't make sense."
It's just Walking Dead and the example of the audience doesn't care.
I would have loved a scene where they were like corralling,
Yes.
Massive amounts of
how
them
long it took them to corral.
into a field or something like
Bottleneck
that.
them into an area.
Bottleneck them into an area and then lead them out. You know what I mean? Like a cattle farm.
Basically all you're doing is herding.
But this thing,
and it's funny you say that because that is in the comic books.
But why the hell?
The herding of walkers is in the comic books. And think about how great it would have been if you saw that happening. We've seen it in the previous seasons where they lead them in directions and do different.
They literally created walls, turning lanes to stop them from going this road and make them go this way. Remember?
Yeah.
Because they would pile up
and burst against the wall,
and their heads would explode and stuff for some reason.
Grapefruits.
But I'm just saying, there has been canon for this.
Yes.
And they totally shit on the canon to make this weird clockwork where these walkers are doing circles.
To me, I think it was the whole, I don't want you to know exactly what I'm doing until right when it's time. So I think that was all left, kind of until it was right at, okay, here, be careful, remember, be safe, Carol, inspirational moment, hug, da-da-da-da.
I mean,
all that was there, so they didn't give you anything before that, so you didn't realize that you were taking the horde to Negan's place.
Sure, but was that some grand reveal that made the episode? No.
No, but it was a big wild card from the comic book.
The only thing I can think of is we have a loop, like the I-240 loop, okay? Which just basically just runs a circle around Memphis. So it's like, if the herd only stays on that circle, then they would come around.
If they're moving.
Well, yeah, if they're moving, but I'm just saying.
I love how in depth you went into this, trying to figure out why this was happening for the show.
I have to.
Well, it was a huge plot hole.
A massive misstep. Once again, I just this is the stuff I can't focus on the things they do good because they throw in these garbage scenes. Where I'm just like, come on, guys. I mean, you're intelligent. You can create reasons. If I can come up with herding like cattle or bottlenecking them into a space and then releasing them
from something that you've already done on the show,
from something that's already happened,
right?
It's like, what are we doing?
It would have been pretty cool if you saw somebody take like a radio and stick it somewhere and let it play, and you just have like 1 million walkers have collected in that one spot.
That's what I'm saying.
And then you just see them, the radio quits, and you lead them where you want them to go. Give us that. Don't give us they're on a clock. It's like watching a 5K, spirit walk.
They understand time now. Like they'll be over at dinner by 6:45.
Yeah,
don't worry.
Don't worry. We're 10 seconds off. No big deal. All right, it cuts away to the new intro, which I call a new intro. It's just new images. They shake it up. I mean, nothing real mind blowing. I didn't get real in depth into the intro. You'd think that maybe they give you little tidbits, but and then again, they give you another little cut scene of old man Rick craning against the wall, the flowers, and all that good gobby stuff. So then it goes back again to, this is where you get the homage to season 1 with Carl and the van, driving up and so on. And again, this is something else, and I know people listen to this and probably tired of beating it to death and stuff like that. It just drives me crazy that they can't find the same. I mean, they use the same stretch of this interstate all the time for a lot of these different shots like that. Let the grass grow up.
Yeah.
The medium was fresh cut.
Oh, man.
Just that, it's just something small, but when you see Carl's van coming up, people are probably not looking at the grass. But I'm looking at the set piece like, I wanted this to look like it hasn't been touched in 2 or 3 years. You know what I mean? They took the time and effort that when he was walking between cars and looking, there was tall grass patches. Things had years of dust and dirt like that. Come across the medium, they threw some hay on the ground, and that was it. I mean, grass was fresh cut in the medium. This. I mean, you would have little shrubs and trees growing up everywhere. And I know that's hard if you're.
Oh my God, the milkweed would be insanity.
Exactly, that stuff grows in a month as tall as you are. We live in Mississippi. We know what Georgia. If you left Georgia unattended for 2 years,
kudzu.
You wouldn't find roads.
How terrifying would this show be if kudzu was everywhere?
Just Kudzu City.
Right. And then they did the kudzu homage when they went through. When they went to that mechanic shop. It was one of the coolest set pieces ever when Daryl and Chad Coleman, Tyrese, and all them were in there, and they had to cut through it to save one of them and stuff. It was one of the best set pieces they've ever had.
Did y'all ever get lost in kudzu growing up?
We had fun in kudzu.
It's a good way to trip. That's all I remember.
All I know is it's hell on a mower.
Oh yeah,
especially weed eaters. But anyway, but that's what I'm getting at. Like they found that cool set piece back then with that. Stick to those kind of spots where things are overgrown,
where you can just let it overgrow,
right? And it adds more character. It's more realistic to what it looked like.
Less work in the future.
Exactly. So Carl does the whole deal where he kneels down, he hears somebody talking.
I didn't understand this hearing talking because we could hear. Like I understand it was all off screen and stuff, but I just didn't like how we heard him so clearly, and Carl is hearing him, but like can't pinpoint where he's at. And I'm like,
I don't understand the purpose of this guy yet. There's got to be one.
Oh, definitely, because I mean, we come back and leave food for him later in the episode.
Right,
so.
right.
Well, the fact is, this guy has a name. This is a named actor. You know what I mean? He's gonna have a role.
Yeah.
They showed his face more than once.
Yeah,
correct. And I couldn't tell if he was talking to Carl or if he was talking in third person.
It sounded like a crazy person.
Yeah, it sounded like he was talking to himself. Like, to me, it reminds me of Tom Hanks, like he's talking to Wilson.
Yeah.
That's what I felt.
He sounded like a lonely person.
Yeah.
Almost like he was retelling a story that.
Right. I mean, I'd just be honest with you. I mean, I thought everything was really good. I thought that Carl was on point with like his reactions, the jumpiness, having the gun out.
Oh yeah.
I was happy they showed that he put two hands on the gun and put the opposite eye. Like, because everybody's been giving Walking Dead hell because he keeps constantly wanting to raise up and aim with an eye that ain't there.
Yeah.
So they made it where
you aim it at, Carl?
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty good that they fixed those things.
Mm-hmm.
It did surprise me to see Rick run up there and shoot above him a couple times. I'm like, I mean,
Rick just out of
you
nowhere.
run at him and shoot twice. I'm like,
I shot above him.
I didn't get that. I thought that was like a little overkill. I mean, he could run at him with the hatchet. I mean, come on, you ain't got to go shoot 2 rounds off and attract every walker for a mile away.
Well, and the thing is too, was like if there's even a chance it's one of Negan's people, you grease that guy.
Yeah.
You grease him.
Yeah, it doesn't fit in line with the assassinations they do later throughout the episodes.
Yeah.
I
mean, you just grease him.
So you just don't take that risk.
No, never.
So again, a little situation. That's where I thought that was kind of a strange timing. Why is he introduced now? Why don't you kill him? Or why was there an attempt to kill him?
And he's never really just let anybody go. Like, I mean, he always asked him the 3 questions and everything. So it really was a big change of character.
Exactly. Especially when you're all out war.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping we would see if they would actually siphon gas. He had the garden hose and the old metal can. Was that purely just to look like Rick back in the day? Or I was really hoping you were going to see him stick that into a tank and try to do something.
I was hoping we were going to see some.
Judging by the vehicles he was walking by, I'm like, there ain't a drop left in any of these things.
It's sludge if it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could be just rancid.
All right. Of course, there's this little thing right at the end where there's a girl in the distance that has like the same tore up face and the white robe, just as the one he killed in episode 1 off in the distance. And Rick kind of gives that double take look and then walks away. A lot, like I said, a lot of homage to episode 1,
Well done.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I was happy they shot it way away.
Oh, yes.
The girl was way away. So I thought that was pretty cool. So they start suddenly assassinating, which they don't really get that idea until about the second or third one. You realize that they're killing out, they're spotters,
watchers, spies.
So did anybody see how the guy got into the tree stand?
No.
I was stopped and rewound this, and I was like, don't see a ladder.
We usually
I
have
don't see
a lot of those. You have like climbing spikes,
right? But that was a wood. That was a wood attached to the tree.
No, I agree with you, but like a lot of times, you'll see the just literally hammer big like railroad spikes into the tree and climb up that way.
I thought it was cool that there was a walker at the base of the tree, and they were just kind of like whatever, you know what I mean? But when they did shoot him, or he did die, everything was good until the last second. It turned to a CG guy that hit the ground. Did y'all notice that?
Yeah, it's
Like there's a distinct change in the person hitting the ground.
yeah. They had a green screen mat down there that he landed on. And it was like, all right, remove all that.
Yeah.
And now put in the CG. Flump.
And of course, Walker's there, just happy to have the meal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it starts with his fingers on his hand. It looks like it's like ew.
Easy to get to.
Yeah. Appetizers.
Yeah.
So then Daryl kills one that's sitting on a car.
He's more
Did y'all struggle with any of the whole that they could sneak the stealth thing?
Well, I mean, I've never heard of a rifle being so quiet as the first one or anything, so it's just like
Well, they have sniper. I mean, they had silenced rifles with suppressors. I mean,
you talking about the first one?
The tree stand guy.
the tree stand guy.
He was killed by a sniper round.
No, he was killed by an arrow or a bolt.
I thought he was shot.
I could have sworn it was a rifle shot.
I thought he was shot.
I thought for sure he was.
Well, it was quiet enough to be.
I thought he got one right through the head.
I thought he was shot too, Cash. I don't know.
No, that was my mind. I was like, man,
Because when he fell, there wasn't nothing sticking out of his head when he fell.
Whatever.
And anyway, I didn't really care for the stealth Daryl off-screen grab you. You know what I mean? I felt like we were watching Commando from the
What about
80s.
Stealth Morgan?
I know, just the shock. I'm sorry. Every time I see Morgan just brutally murder a live person, I go back to that episode where he was like, "We don't kill anymore. There's always a better option."
Morgan's clearing now.
Yeah.
Clearing the living.
He's clear. He's real clear.
psychopath
That guy,
Morgan.
that guy is clear out of his mind. Everything he learned. So,
As soon as what was it, Little Ben? Was Ben the one that died last season? As soon as Ben died, Morgan's back.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he puts a sharpened stick through a guy's chest like a samurai sword.
Oh yeah, a hot knife through butter.
I'm
right
just
there is
again.
thing of beauty.
That stick has quite a diameter for it to go all the way through.
And it's not sharp.
No,
I'm sorry.
It's nothing.
I am
cool.
6'4", 300 some odd pounds, and feel like I'm pretty decently strong. I don't think I could thrust that stick all the way through.
oh, not even close.
Oh, and through the rib cage.
Yeah,
out
through
the sternum.
spine.
yeah.
Out the sternum.
Yeah. He looked like Alien.
I mean, it did. One thing missing.
You might have gotten that
One
thing
more
like halfway through.
So the bubble skull sound effects over there.
Sound effects are pretty sweet, huh? Yeah. Hey, make sure you record that again and patent it. All right.
I'm sure we
It's already
edit
a
that
little
scene
button.
out so that he's not so embarrassed.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like that.
But he was super stealthy.
Rule of cool, but that works with this Michonne's blade. It does not work with a 1.5 inch diameter, somewhat
Wooden
sharp
staff.
spear.
It's like a pencil, a worn down pencil.
Right.
I mean, that thing's still a staff. It's not even a spear.
I mean, really, I don't think he penetrates him 1 inch, 2 maybe.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen him put a piece of metal on the end of that bad boy or something.
Oh yeah, but then you're not stealthy. Then you get the little clink.
And then, not only that, and then just his arms move 4 inches, and then it comes back down. And I'm guessing we're supposed to think it went through the brain and killed it.
Oh yeah,
The 1 inch punch.
Yeah,
Same thing.
he's been practicing with
It's
Bruce
Kung
Lee.
Fu Hustle.
I know it. Y'all realize we've gone through a third of this episode, and we have picked apart almost every little
anything
detail.
good yet?
I mean,
I want y'all to know I enjoyed this episode.
yeah, I mean,
It's
it did.
way
It's
more
just
fun.
the little details that eat it up, man. So anyway, we see the baby Judith. Well, not baby Judith.
that's a
we're
grown
almost
child.
adolescent.
Yeah, as a teenager, dude.
I have a 2-year-old, and she's older than that. She's at least 4.
I'm going 5.
Yeah, I have a 5-year-old, and yeah, it's very possible.
And as far as I know, this timeline is not over 2 or 3 years. So we baby Judith
Baby Judith
has
was
gotten
a
big quick.
baby when Negan was eating spaghetti with Carl.
Oh, yes.
She was a baby, like in the crib, baby.
There's some hormones going on here.
I mean, was it HGH baby?
It's definitely Shane's baby.
Jesus.
No more NBA, so it's like HGH got to go somewhere.
Yeah, when are you gonna glance at those ears? Cut the hair off a little bit.
That's why the hair's
we need a
long.
reminder.
We got it. Yeah, that's right. We got it. So again, you see more details of the cars, and everybody's giving their hugs, and we get to see Rosita's grumpy self on the porch with her bandage.
This was perfect. Don't let her say a word.
Give her one credit.
This could be her best acting job of the
resting bitch face and
seed.
Just put a bandage on her shoulder and just don't let her speak.
Mention her off screen. I know you wish you could go out there.
So wrong, man. So wrong.
Give her an Oscar. She just earned it. Emmy, whatever.
So the last lookout happens to be hanging out with a couple coolers with a walker that is stuck to an electrical line.
Oh, he's been burned and fried. He's been fried by the...
Looked fantastic.
Okay, so is that what we're... Okay.
Yeah.
I was looking
That's why he's attached to it.
Okay, that's what I want to make sure. I mean, I think they were trying to show the burn effects and this, that, or so on. It was pretty cool. Stealth Rick, with a little whistle and what? And,
I'm okay with this because he's walking in an open field, kind of.
Right.
But...
I mean, the fact that you're walking in an open field and you sneak up on somebody who's supposed to be watching you.
Yeah, exactly. Some scout you got there, some lookout.
Like I say, the one that Morgan sneaked up on, the guy was paying attention to a walker
door that was thumping.
That's making noise. It's like, okay, I'll give you a little bit.
That was more plausible than Daryl's, and
that
more
was the most
plausible than Rick's. In my mind.
I think Rick's is okay too because he has a walker just going, constantly.
What was that again?
Attached to this pole.
What was that walker doing?
Yeah, you heard it. It was way better, wasn't it, guys? But
I'll give you kudos on that. I'll give you a 7.5 on that one.
Same thing. Something's making racket, and the guy's not paying attention.
He's distracted.
So it's like that's all you need basically to cover a foot. But yeah, if he looks 360 degrees like he's supposed to be, it's like, who's this tall son of a bitch coming this way? He's not walking.
Out of all the scouts, not to change subject on that one, like the one I thought we were going to have something cooler with the gun that had the marks on it, which that is a badass Taurus Judge that shoots 410 rounds or 45 long Colt.
Yeah.
Like that, which is a bad MF handgun because our cousin owns one and it is a fun shooting gun.
It's the Max Payne gun, if y'all don't remember.
Exactly. Blow the door, blow the hinges off the stall, and take care of business, guy. I thought that would be a cooler, like that's somebody on the good side putting notches down or something like that. I mean, instead, it's just a drop gun.
Well, I mean, they showed it just basically because Daryl was going to end up blowing up gas bombs along the way.
Yeah, I mean, are we to say this is convenient that he's got this giant, handgun that shoots 410 spread shots and basically means you can't miss, convenient?
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it understand.
It definitely helps. It makes his scene much more plausible.
Yeah, because like I said, our cousin has one of these, and it's about accurate at 5 feet.
If
you're being gracious,
that barrel is 1/4 inch long.
There's a barrel.
Yeah, I mean you're basically just throwing the rounds. You're just hitting them with a hammer and hoping they go in the right direction. Yeah, I mean it's a really cool.
The accuracy of spoon throwing.
It's a cool gun.
Mystery man, there was a guy who threw spoons and he was like 40% accurate.
Yeah, it is
impressive.
A breech gun. I mean, it's like, let me shoot out.
It is the sawed off of sawed off.
Yeah, it's the mini shotgun.
Yes,
a hand shotgun.
Yeah, I mean, again, Gabriel pops up and he's like, "Are you ready? You've got about 30 minutes." Da, 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 da. And this is where they're going back and forth in the timeline a little bit.
It's not about you.
And it's not about you.
You made it that way.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. Once again, though, Gabriel's pretty strong, man.
He is.
He's done a fantastic job ever since last season. I thought he's been crushing.
He's definitely redeemed himself.
Biggest turnaround of a character, I think, in the show. As far as like give a damn, because most of us wanted Gabriel just to die.
Yes.
A couple seasons ago.
A few times. There's a few different times.
Yeah, die
how are
terribly.
You still alive?
Yeah.
Pull a T-dog and just get tore up, saving Carol or something.
So we end up where you see all the cars moving after Rick kills this one guy by just chopping the cord and he's getting eaten. That's all.
Savage way to kill somebody too, by the way, Rick. Like, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean,
No, this is my favorite kill of the episode. It's pretty awesome.
Oh yeah.
The guy's talking shit. Your son's gonna die too. Blah blah blah.
And then
oh, okay.
let me let this Walker.
Yeah, I love how these guys are like ruthlessly, attached to Negan.
Yeah.
He's bleeding out from a gut wound, which must feel horrific. He's like, "Oh, what are you doing, Rick?
I saw you begging.
What are you up to?" Like, what are you up to? Medic! Medic!
You're about to-
I've got. I mean, these are average Joe Blows. It's not like they were a former paramilitary. They're
Rick,
just.
I know I'm a huge asshole, but I have a letter in my pocket. Please get it to my mother. She's still alive.
somewhere.
We think.
I'm so sorry about what we've done.
Yeah, really. I mean, that's the reality of it. Is that even these guys have been Billy Badass. I mean, you've just got a wound, and you're probably going to die. You're probably sitting there. Oh God! Oh God!
You're looking at your future, gnawing next to you. It's like, Rick, I'm sorry, I'm a dick, but
Put one in my head.
please just shot me in the head. I don't want to be this thing.
Do us both a favor.
Not, your son's going to die, too.
Yeah, really?
You stupid bastard. It's like,
Give Daryl a bath.
Yeah, really.
Oh, lowest
Gotta
blow
get-
ever.
Gotta get a few of those in every episode.
We saw your greasy friend.
Who's that filthy animal that you have that walks around with you? Is that a skunk ape? Is he from Florida?
Easy. All right, so we're all at the field, and we have this little walking camera of like people who usually aren't together mingling and talking. And he goes, "I got your back." He goes, "We just met, and he's like, "Well, that's all right. We're here, And then,
We all just met.
yeah, and like there's a little.
Slightly cheeseball.
It was yeah. I
Leading
mean, like I
to-
saw somebody drop the canister and there was cheese balls everywhere.
Yeah. It's like, I my kids on around, they'd be eating all these cheese balls.
And it goes from them to another bite, so on, and it gets finally to where you have Maggie, and it's they're very lucky to have you as their leader like that. Well, you showed me how to lead, and well, when this is over, I'm
Be following
I'll
you.
be following you, and da-da-da, which I thought the scene was delivered well.
Yeah, I mean,
Be
tears
following
just
you
everywhere.
into a room with you and Michelle.
Easy.
We're gonna.
What's next? I mean,
Still in that
that
first
could go a lot of wrong places. Stop
Okay.
it.
It's like, don't forget Glenn's dead.
Still that first
Papa will
trimester.
keep that bed warm for you.
You're still in the first trimester.
I knew you were going
right?
to go there. I knew it was coming. Sheets are cold now. Yeah, I got you. You're a sick man.
You can't get pregnant.
Stop it. All right, so this is where we make over, and we're looking at the watch on the overpass, and we'll get to the part of the walkers on time within 10 seconds, blah, blah, blah. Still, one of my favorite things is that they're all standing there, and they all have the same point of view looking for the walkers coming, right? To come around the edge of this tree. And if you look carefully, Daryl is on the right side when you're looking from behind.
He'd be the last one.
He would be the last one to see the walkers come around, and he's one, and he raises his arm. Look, just this awkward arm raise, but look, like
It's like, Jesus, Daryl, put your arm down.
there's 4 other SOBs besides you that can see it before you do. You look,
Daryl, just go down in a cloud of green.
All right.
The Famunda cheese is just so bad.
But I was like, my wife was watching with me. She's like, "How would he see it first?" And I was like, "Thank you, honey. Thank you." I mean, because when he does it, you turn around and you realize like he's the worst angle of all of them.
If any of y'all have ever seen the greatest show on television where it was Steven Seagal, Lawman. Yeah,
No,
Seagal Vision.
Seagal Vision.
It's Daryl Vision. He just honed in and goes slow.
Oh, they miss him with Daryl in his yellow glasses.
He did yellow glasses and about 200 pounds on him.
Seagal Vision. I mean, I'm telling you, man. I remember that.
Daryl is the Steven Seagal of Walking Dead. That's fucking
Like
great.
I'm dying. I've lost all focus here.
Fire down below. Yeah, we don't give him the good Seagal movies. It's the 40 and older Steve Seagal.
Okay. All right. That's BleedTV.
We love you, Steven Seagal.
Yeah.
Keep making
my man
movies.
Seagal. I'm not a Russian citizen now. Anyway, so they all leave, and then we have this very long pause of just them moving and this expedition just sitting there. You know,
They just sat there and looked at this horde of walkers for a good solid minute.
I mean, it was a long time, and I was like, since when does Walking Dead not take advantage of a commercial break? This is $250,000 they just threw away.
Yeah, I'm surprised the fucking walkers weren't carrying Coca-Cola or something.
It's just some Budweiser shirts for wearing. You can clearly see the logo.
Oh yeah,
I'm just waiting for
The
it.
front ones had Nikes on.
just do it.
Yeah,
Just do it.
I'm just waiting for it. One of them with the fucking Walking Dead app video game on his shirt. If I see that Walking Dead game one more time,
Oh, I know
it's
it.
brutal.
throw
Oh
up.
yeah, with a promo code on it.
Oh yeah.
Hashtag
You
Daryl.
can unlock Daryl this week. No, I'm good.
Or the worst one, the Walking Dead Encounter, where you just hold your phone up and a walker will show up as you do things. I'm just like,
Well, you know, they had a new game at the end of the thing where it's a VR and you're Negan trying to get away from the horde at the end. Have you seen? That's the new one now.
oh God, make it stop.
Shoot me now. No,
I know
shoot.
those VRs are pretty cool. If you ever get the
Yeah,
opportunity.
decent ones.
So anyway, finally the Ford Expeditionary blows up.
Yeah.
Cool practical effect. It was a good explosion. I give it all that kudos. I thought that was pretty neat. So then you have Dwight, pull the radio out and he sends a search party crew to go out there and check it out. You know what I mean? And this is where you see the plan developing that you haven't been told is happening, and you can kind of put it together.
Yeah.
Like that. And I'm liking this part. Like, this is where somebody really took the time to properly edit and put these episodes, these part of the episodes in order, and it was doing well. And it looked good, so I appreciate all that. So then Dwight checks his watch, goes inside, and then not a second later, the two snipers up top, bam, bam, they're down.
Yeah. And Dwight's message, I believe, like there was a fine print or something that I didn't see that told him a timing, because I just saw tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so for him to just perfectly check it, okay.
That was, I mean, like, we're talking precision. Two shots.
Now, who shot him?
Michonne,
Two
clearly.
separate people.
Michonne
wasn't
shot him from the couch.
Yeah.
I got this, Rick.
I mean, we've seen
That
her
one fucked
accuracy.
up eye.
She was
Still got
hunting
this.
for deer. She was hunting for deer and missed and hit these two people perfectly.
Oh God, that reminds me of that. What was that Angelina Jolie movie where they could shoot bullets that could curve around
You mean
things?
that badass movie named Wanted?
Yes.
Yeah, he was shooting a sniper rifle like that, where the bullet was changing and falling apart as it goes across the
That movie
country.
rocks.
Fantastic movie.
I'm all about it.
Shooting wings off of flies gets no better.
Yeah. Those musket guns, those were super badass. I'm not even being slightly smart ass about this. I love that movie.
Well, there was
Jumping
no
off of-
muskets in The Walking Dead. Okay,
Jumping off of buildings to other ones with super speed. Like, what else do you want in a movie?
I'm with you. And add
not
Jolie
with
into
us.
it, it's all good.
Yeah, Jolie in a mud bath. Word.
Anyway, so those two guys drop, silence Sniper Valley, I guess, and then all these cars just pile up in front of the sanctuary.
Well, is it weird that this is the only two people washed in the front? Is this the front? What is
That's the
thing?
whole deal. Like this building compound, whatever like that. It's you only get this one perspective.
Because
So-
this is a full blown siloed factory. I mean, this
Yeah.
is like a
Right.
kind of like a oil refinery type of
Yeah.
place.
Even metalwork. All that.
So I'm like, I mean, just the factory I work in has like 7 exterior doors. You know what I mean? Tons of them. I mean, this place is enormous.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Whatever.
It,
I mean,
it
they
just
can-
doesn't give you that visual, and the only time you get anything above their head is CG.
Yeah, true.
Extended building. You know what I mean? So I think it's purely we can't build this entire thing And so we're going to give you just one point of view the whole time, and then that's how they rock it.
Because they just reused the prison, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, that makes sense of why they just keep giving us the same shots over and over.
Right.
But yeah, two people watching the front. I think there's people way out in front. I mean, Negan felt like he knew already.
It didn't bother me just because, like, you're the saviors.
Yeah.
And you don't expect any issue. Even though we're like, yes, these guys came in and shot a bunch of people and ran you off from Alexandria. I just don't see you. He's just
them to bring the fight to
you're
your
just
door.
that cocky.
Well, my thing
And
is,
you have people out there as lookouts.
And you have like all the guns.
so
Right.
So do we think that's weird? Do we think the fact that they had all this time to build corrugated tin roof protection,
4 Tauruses.
little ass kicker is fucking 17 years old, and Negan has not attacked. He's like,
Right.
we're going to war. That's how they ended the last season, and they have not gone to war. They've not done anything. As far as I
Right,
can
like-
tell.
That is a bit odd.
I mean, I guess they're just trying to say that Rick and them have made the first move, but Negan seems like
Always
he's done
makes the
nothing, and he could make the first move tomorrow if that.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, like, as soon as they said we're going to war, he could be like, hey, tomorrow, full force.
Right, we're going to go and annihilate.
We're going to just go ahead and mop the floor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
And Negan seems like a first move person, so it doesn't make much sense of why he would let him wait.
This is where the comic book does a better job of where we are
explaining this.
now, to where the show did their remix and it doesn't gel as well. Like I said, we talked about this last week, and if you remember, this scene is technically kind of the beginning of the all-out war, but there was more to it. That was way different than where they got to this point.
yeah, we just didn't get the Negan point of view chapter or, scene where he's talking about why he hasn't attacked.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot more to it.
Why isn't there a scene where it's like not Simon, not Dwight, but whatever the guy at the end was like, can we get a timeout here for a second? That guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why isn't he like in a scene just asking Negan, so we got the numbers, man, we got the guns, why don't we just go finish? And then all he has to do is say, give a reason why, and then this makes more sense. But to me, I'm just like, he clearly has the numbers, he clearly has the weapons. Like,
Right. Well, if like it's
he's done nothing.
Like what you see in a minute is that when Rick finally does start talking, this, that, or so on, and Negan supposedly has his trump card, which is Gregory. You know what I mean? Well, if you're like we talked about in the comic, which I'm not spoiling now, is that Negan had a reason to be waiting and reason to, no reason to be worried or this, that, or so on. Where in this one, it leaves you with, we're going to war, and it gives you a false sense of where they're going with it.
Well,
We're going to war, but we're going to sit here and wait, I mean, like, it doesn't.
It's a defensive strategy.
Right, it doesn't work. Where it would have been cooler if you'd saw Negan saying that, I'm sorting out our resources and finding out, show some strategic, or something like that. But again, you go back to the comic book, Negan was always the surprise, guy. Like he never. The comic didn't show you his deck. He just came. He just laid down his cards every time there was a situation. So the show's doing the same thing. You don't get to see him planning his big move.
Which would be fine if he would have made the first big move.
Exactly.
Like, it just doesn't necessarily make sense why he's holding it.
Right. So, I mean, like, that's where a little blur, and you're kind of exactly right.
And then a big problem with it was his big ace in the hole was Gregory, and it was like, we just spent the entire episode painting Maggie as the world's
the true
greatest
leader. Yeah,
So
the
it's
true
just like,
leader.
We knew that this was going to fall flat.
But you gotta imagine too, though, Gregory has a false sense of importance.
Well, no, like, I believe why Negan believed it, but like, as the viewer, I've seen too much of the hillside siding with Maggie and everything.
Yeah.
And so, like,
Yeah,
I knew
they all, like, everybody at the hilltop was like Gregory's a limp dick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's collectively known. Where in the comic book, he still has people. It's a mixed bag.
Yeah. Like,
Maggie's not in power yet. In the comic book. I mean, she's authority there in the Force, and people follow and listen to her, and so on. But she's still trying to win over the entire hilltop.
Yeah, whereas
You
on
know?
the TV show, Maggie saved us from an invasion.
Right, like she's already proven herself
Yeah.
the true leader of the crew.
We saw Gregory fail, and Hillside people saw Gregory fail at killing a walker.
Absolutely. And just like this, Gregory comes out and does his lines like that, which don't get me wrong. Now, his lines were better on the show than what he did in the comic book. Comic book, he spoke less, and which is kind of to it. And of course, like we talked about last week, in the comic book, people did leave the group that Rick was with because they were fearful because of their family and what that meant and so on. And it's a good thing they did because it leads into an important part of the comic book from that point forward that they did walk away. And so it's because it gives an opening to Gregory's character. And so the way they remixed this one was a little differently,
And I like that Maggie was even like, look, guys, if you got to go, you got to go. Like,
do what you got to do, And Jesus is like, well, I've got a couple books and, that stuff.
Lobster bib.
Yeah. Random.
Yeah.
What the hell? I guess that's for when he's catching loads.
Right. Oh. I'm done. I'm done. Oh, I'm done. All right. Anyway, I can't. I can't. Man. You were over the top, man. You were over the top. So they cut into this scene back to where Rick has that all emotional face by the tree, and this is where you get to see him. Look at the stained. There's a stained glass thing above him, and the whole 9 yards. And it's just, that's where they do one of those cutaways. It's very unique timing for this.
But he says, have mercy.
Yeah, please give me mercy for something of my wrath or something of that nature. Is what he said. Have mercy to prevail over my wrath. That's what it is. I wrote it down in my notes. So anyway, we shoot a few shots in the air. We wait several seconds. Negan walks out. There's Gregory. He brings Gregory out there. I love how, see, you brought all your mud flaps.
Yeah.
I like some of the lines he had. I thought those were pretty good.
I thought his dialogue was on point. This
Yeah.
episode.
I thought that was pretty good. We can stand out here and play whose dick's bigger, and
but I know mine is.
Mine is.
And even if it wasn't, I wouldn't be so insecure that we go through something like this.
And then, of course, again, there was a little change there where Rick's like, your lieutenants, they can make a decision, they can live, and and
How do you like them introducing every one of them, even adding this Regina character?
Yeah, like where does she come from? What happened to that girl that was from last year that was a badass that killed was it Olivia? Remember?
Yeah, I know you.
Remember you're talking about?
Yeah, I know you're saying. Yeah, absolutely.
Where is she? That would have been her spot.
I would think, yeah, but this Regina chick,
Yeah, I mean that.
Scarface girl.
Right. I want to know what happened to her. We got to Google that and figure that out.
She's got some great accuracy. Just
Yeah,
turn on
I
a
mean-
dime.
I mean, she's Terra level.
Yeah. Nobody's terror level. Nobody.
The gunslinger.
So again, what I really, really did like is that about this time, this is where Carol and Daryl and all them are there, and they set up this wire.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one walker is supposedly going to just randomly go right to that spot, could mess it up. And we come over there and stab him in the back of the head. Pretty cool. All that was plausible.
I thought this was going to be like The Counselor,
Yeah.
where he just wanted to hit the bikers,
Oh,
decapitate
man.
them.
Yeah.
That was devastating.
I thought that's what they were going for, but I didn't realize it was going to be a trip.
No,
bomb.
instead, it was a line that evidently sets off explosions. One of those explosions was in the middle of the street that caused the car to flip up and over.
One of them came from the side.
inside.
No bodies.
No bodies. And the bikers were behind it pretty decent. So I didn't understand how. I thought we were going to get Morgan come around and finish off anybody who slid off the bikers or something of that nature. But instead, it was like the explosions did all the damage and killed all of them, which I thought was actually kind of flimsy. I thought that
maybe shrapnel?
No.
I thought this would have been pretty sick if they would have disarmed or whatever, killed these people, and then used their same cars and motorcycle gear with helmets
Roll up
to
in
go
there.
back into Negan's,
incognito. Yeah.
I mean, Dwight's the one handling the radio, so it's just like, checking in.
breaker.
Yeah.
It was just some bullshit. You know what I mean? Even Dwight said on the radio, it's like probably just something that was, armed and left behind.
Yeah. Some walker ran into it.
So that would have been awesome to see them go right back in.
Well, they should have finished that scene. You should have had Carol and Tara come down there and stuff like that, and go down there and just even if it's just grease the guys on the biker or whatever. You know what I mean? There should have been a little bit more completion there. Instead, it was an explosion, and then you see Rick smiling, well, there goes your search party just went down.
Some shit's going down.
Yeah. And so the Rick does what I thought was the best thing is you're going to make me count.
Yeah.
Really, you're going to make me count. And he's, and I thought that was pretty cool. And I was so happy that he got to 7 and said, just hell. He just starts gunning.
Oh, yeah. If he would have counted down to 0, I was just
and then he's the worst shot ever with an MP5.
Worst shot. All of them worst shot ever. I mean, they could have ended this whole thing. Just all of them just lined up. I mean, all of them should be literally on sight.
Just so we put this in perspective. 2 people with rifles that are silenced. Mm-hmm. Dropped 2 snipers at the top of a building.
From God knows how far.
From where? Who knows? Because they were actually farther away because we didn't have cars in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Directly above where they're standing right
Correct.
now.
Mark Wahlberg has joined the cast as the sniper.
Yeah.
And
and when we get to this situation right here, this is where you lose that. Okay, well, we can kill 2 guys way the heck up there from farther shots away, but we can't hit not a bitch in front of a door.
No, with
automatic
rifles,
a few hundred feet away.
Both of you train on the same person and just pull the trigger.
Yeah.
One of you is gonna hit him. All right, you aim head, I'll aim body.
Right.
We'll grease
center
this guy.
mass. It's over.
This right here, no casualties.
Right. So given you can't do that because then the show's like, it sucks. It's over. Okay, but that's where The Walking Dead blurs reality in non-reality and goes way non-reality way more than it should.
Yeah, no. I mean,
Negan coming out there and doing that is all great and everything, and so on. Yes, you give him the opportunity to surrender and so on. But when he starts doing that countdown and stuff like that, which was cool as hell, this is where you should have seen Negan just go in the building, or say something like it's on and go inside and like that. And maybe you grease the last one that's going into the door. This chick that got out of nowhere, she takes 4 rounds as the other 4 get in the door before.
Yeah, well, the guy asking for a timeout.
You're right. Splatter him against the wall as you're trying to shoot Negan.
They could have fixed this just by, like I said, if Carol and them came back in the same cars that went out and stuff like that, they could have hopped out, greased the guys on the roof, you know what I mean? Which would give them the time to run in with the new cars, with the shields on them. Done. It's fixed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So here's my next thing. So they're shooting this place up. And of course, you get the scene, the CG where they're shooting all the glass out and stuff. In the comic book, Rick's like, shoot the glass. Shoot. Make sure you get your ammo up here. Da, da, da. There's explanation going on with this. Mm-hmm. Instead, the show does they're just shooting everything you could imagine. And so on. And all of a sudden, Negan's outside, and he's like bobbing and weaving.
Yeah, he's been clipped in the leg, it looks like.
Right, and then he's outside, and then they send the RV in, it explodes, and then you see Negan again run to get behind the armor plate that was on the front of the RV.
Makes no sense. I mean, this was...
I don't even remember.
Negan went into this building.
No, he didn't.
Did he? Or he? No,
he
dives. He dives and goes to the stairs. Right.
Yep.
And the other people go. Okay.
Yeah.
And so he's the only one outside.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It was filmed very scatteredly.
It was.
It was hard to keep track of what was going on and who was running around who.
Very strong CG of the glass being shot out, though.
Yes, it was.
When they pan up and it's like just a huge wall of glass they're shooting out, that's really well done.
It was a complete waste of ammo.
Oh, yeah.
It was an extreme waste of ammunition.
Like, we could have saved some of that dynamite or something from Rosita, throwing those over. Or...
Yeah.
Throw one of those through that glass, man.
Yeah.
Catastrophe inside.
Sure, a few innocents.
Sticky bomb. Put something in a sock and
I can
throw it
only
against the
assume
wall.
they're just trying to be nice and not kill Mullet.
Yeah, Eugene.
Yeah.
It's like, Eugene, don't I get an introduction? We know who you are.
Yeah. Rick, I'd be far pressed not shut up.
Yeah, really. You know, and he starts counting down. You see Eugene put his hand on his forehead, like, "Oh God, oh God." Yeah.
But I mean, I love that we made the Winnebago, the steel plated, charged through it. Gabriel's able to jump out the back. Like, I mean, well
I love the thing is like, let's put the lightest rock we can on the gas pedal so it just creeps in. And that thing was moving at the speed of
that
smell.
was full speed for the RV.
Yeah, it's like, Jesus.
I mean, it's got the extra added weight in the front and everything. Yeah.
Like you said, Gabriel jumps out of it. Remember, you know, he stops Rick before he finishes Negan off. You know,
it's not about you. Actually, Gabriel, like this one could be about him. Like,
you know,
let's see if he can do it.
And in Talking Dead, Gabriel, the character, you know, Seth Green was like, you know, at that time, it's even if you killed Negan, it was more important to have Rick alive.
No.
You know, and so that was the rationale.
Don't know if I could disagree with that more.
I don't know. We need Old Man Rick, you know, and his back hair race.
Do we though?
Flat top.
Yeah. So he does that, and then, you know, Gabriel's about to leave, and for some reason he has a soft spot for Gregory.
I mean, he decides to be a father. I mean, that was the only thing I could decide because.
And so he goes over there, and he's, you know, and Gregory's like, "Why are they shooting at me?" You know, and, and okay, that's all fine, and like that, and like this concrete road barrier is crumbling from all this gunfire that's hitting it, right? Of course, Gabriel's car is over there running, and there's walkers everywhere, and Not yet. Don't get up. Not yet. And then Gabriel gets up, nonchalantly, you know, like
Greatly
blue
played
suede
by Gregory.
shoes, shuffles over to the car. Doesn't see a bullet go by. Open the door, no problem. Gets in, puts his seatbelt on, turns
They
to
start
98.1 old jams, and you know, I mean, starts the car, adjusts the seat. You know, he adjusts the seat, looks at the sunglasses.
Ooh, aviators.
Yeah, puts his fedora up back on and his driving gloves and just eases out the whole time that
cigarette.
Gabriel's concrete pillar is just crumbling.
Wait. Wait for me. There's a passenger door, Gabriel.
Yeah, really. I mean, this is when you take the run for it, Bubba.
Yeah. Just hop in.
You know,
Just Dukes of Hazzard, go
but
through the
so
side of
he'll
the
get up
window.
and run with, you know, with the walkers around him, but he wouldn't get up and run and go to
You
the
mean
car.
run. You mean
Shuffle.
it's just like side shuffle around.
He was ducking and
He's
weaving.
juking them out. Just like, oh. Barry Sanders of the fatherhood. Just like...
But how great would it be to just kind of like play football with a bunch of walkers? Like, I mean, you would feel
XA spin move.
It would be Bo Jackson Tecmo Bowl in there. Just blast, 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 blast. All you got to do is forearm shivers.
Zigzag.
You're just Heismaning off their skull.
unlimited stamina. Come on, give it to me.
I mean,
if anybody watched Bell and the Steelers this
Oh,
past
my
weekend,
God.
who just
That's stiff arm.
embarrassed defender.
Speaking of, congratulations on your perfect sports week.
Yes, I
Like,
appreciate that. Perfect sports weekend. Off,
I mean-
off topic, but that never
Threw up in my
happened.
mouth.
No, like I mean, you had like a 7-team swing right there.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
I
It was
mean, the
pretty,
Dolphins are one of those. Like,
pretty legit.
ugh. You mentioned the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I mean, he's the fan. Like we gotta
You
give
mean
him the props when
You
he
mean
get
that
him.
4-2 team you're talking about?
How's that offensive line coach? How's he doing?
Yeah, really.
My man likes a little powder.
Yeah.
What? I couldn't hear you over.
Yeah. So anyway, after Techno Bowl, Gabriel makes his way into one of the things. That's fine. It cuts away, and you see Carl put 2 cans of food upside down onto a note that says "sorry," and we get the facial shot of the guy who's evidently never left the woods after he was shot at by Rick.
No, I mean
He's still in the brush.
This is his hidey hole.
it's clockwork.
He's got a nice clean bathroom.
Oh, yeah, okay. And then it kind of suddenly goes to where Rick and them are by a tree, and I think
They're waiting on Gabriel.
right on Gabriel, nothing, and so then they just go ahead and decide to attack an outpost. Okay. And this
Well,
is where-
they all have all this timed out, so it's like,
Right.
hey, that we got about 3 minutes to wait for Gabriel, and then we have to go.
right. So then this is the same outpost that they already attacked once and took over. If you remember, this is the satellite place.
Yeah, satellite place.
Of course, this is in daylight. You know, cool place by the way.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
it's
super
cool
cool
satellite
place.
array out there. It's pretty awesome.
And Okay, so just so we're all on the same page, there is a gated entrance.
Mm-hmm.
They shoot the fellow with a bolt, an arrow through the head. They go through there. It's a long little drive, and they pan up, and you see the satellite building. Okay, the satellite building is these two enormous satellites, and it's one brick structure. Did y'all see that?
I think so.
Okay,
But when they go up in the car that they waste all their ammo on, it's like a separate building.
it's like an alley between two buildings.
Yeah.
Didn't quite see that in the shot before where
bro, it's
there
just
was
all-
more than one building.
Cropping, bro.
Yeah.
Cropping.
It is a bad angle.
We'll just crop this right here where you can't see anything else. We can shoot this anywhere we like. We
Right.
can't blow up this car right next to the building.
Okay, so here's my other part of this. Are we sure that Carol and company with Ezekiel is with Daryl and Rick and company?
I thought we saw them on the screen together.
Okay, so
I think it's just bad continuity.
I think it's just bad continuity. I think we have two separate groups only because source material tells us that there's two separate battles going on here.
Yeah.
True.
That Ezekiel and company are going after one outpost. Thus, you see the grenade, and they're all on the ground, and those are all kingdom people because they were all wearing the body armor and those guns and that kind of stuff. You follow?
So did the grenade hurt anybody?
Well, the funny thing is when the grenade exploded, it wasn't like an explosion. It looked like a dirt bomb.
Well,
Dust everywhere.
well, that's the thing. Grenades aren't
Right.
what people think they are.
Exactly. In which I was happy with that, but then it just created this huge dust cloud. And that's where it stops there. But then you never see Rick and Daryl doing what they're doing wherever they are. And so on. So, I mean, that's what I'm getting at. Like, that's where there's a little bit of confusion. Who's what where and so on. And they just kind of left you cut and hanging right
Is
there.
this when Rick took the photo, or did Rick take the photo when they were leaving the Savior's compound? Because he took a photo with a Polaroid. I don't know if y'all caught it or not.
I was on Twitter, keeping track of Twitter
Yeah.
when the episode was going on, and everybody was calling Rick a tool bag for taking a photo. I never saw this take a picture shot.
Yeah, he took a Polaroid photo. It might have been when they were leaving the Savior's compound.
It's when they were leaving the Savior's compound.
Okay.
Because it's when Gabriel tells him, let's go.
Yeah.
He takes the picture and leaves. I never saw it.
I didn't see it either.
It was
never
weird.
saw it.
I never saw that. This is
I-
completely
yeah.
new to me. What
I don't
you're
know how
talking
y'all
about.
missed it,
I'm
but
so
yeah.
like I'm finna go pull my DVR up right now and return.
Yeah,
my
I never saw it, but Twitter blew up with it, talking about it. And
Oh, yeah.
Cash, the fact you brought it up was the only thing that reminded me that it
I
happened.
mean, he took it like Dwight shot the crossbow, like no aim or nothing,
no,
mid
just
chest.
from the hip. Yeah.
Yep. It was a weird thing, and I thought maybe he was doing it just to mail it back to Negan, like when Negan always took the Polaroid after using Lucille. But it was weird.
Well, maybe that'll come back later on.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's several things in this episode that make you believe there's a future endpoint
Yeah.
to why you're being presented to it now.
And I mean, like they didn't focus on him taking the photo; like it was just kind of panning away, and you see Rick just standing. Boop.
I don't know. All I know is the next thing you got Negan telling, I hope you got your, shit.
I actually
pants
really
on.
like this. Like when we saw the promo of it,
The promo, I thought I was going to throw up from this scene because
Like-
it was just too on the nose. You know what I mean? Just
Right,
like
right,
beating you
yeah.
over the head
It was
with this
beating you to
crap.
death with it.
But this made total sense.
Yeah.
It really, really did.
Because he's not actually talking about like
Killing
I'm about
him
to-
or
yeah, I'm not about to
anything.
kill you. It's like, oh no, we're about to be
Yeah.
surrounded horrifically.
I really hope
Yeah.
you have your brown pants because
Yeah.
I don't want to have to see that.
And
stuff.
that is the exact same reason he says it in the comic book, which I was very pleased with, is that, he was instead of looking at, somebody he's captured, he's looking at, Dwight and saying, I hope you got your shin bends on. And he goes, why? And you look out and you see the horde is surrounding them, and so
I
this was
was like-
cool homage.
I was like, man, I really hate that this got wasted in the promo because this is so much better than.
And
what
then
I
there
thought
was a
it
really
gonna
cool aerial shot where you see it go up and you see all the walkers, and it gives you your first view of the complexity of the Savior compound.
Yeah.
Of how how big it is and all that kind of stuff, which was good. I was happy they showed that.
And they're in like a kind of like
A work trailer, like a
work
foreman's trailer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
foreman's trailer. Yeah.
I thought that was like I said, it was really good. It was spot on, good stuff. I enjoyed that. And then shot itself in the foot, or as our good fans like we say, shit the bed. You know, as they do when they do an episode. We went back to old man Rick, and he goes and sees Michonne, who doesn't age, and then his daughter, who's 27 by now, and
graduated college. Just started Harvard.
Just lost her virginity. And, it's pretty awful.
She's actually pregnant. You know? I mean, and then she's like, you know, hey, we've got an owl outside.
She's taking the lobster bib.
Oh, I'm done.
Oh, we've created a new term, the lobster bib.
The lobster bib. And then go outside, and we have the
Owl Festival.
Owl Festival with the 1600 Scottish made house in the front yard, and some people gardening it.
Okay, so where'd this house come from?
You tell me. Is a stone hand? Like I'm serious. Like
it looks like a plantation home.
Yeah, I mean, like it literally looked like Scotland transplanted this thing over. Or
I have no idea where this house came from.
Okay, well, me knowing the comic book is, I know what they're. I think I know what they're trying to say here. Again, where if you're not a comic book reader, you're looking at this and scratching your head, slapping yourself on the forehead, or just whatever. That's what I'm trying to get at. I mean, I have an idea.
Yeah,
but only because I've read it.
And like it makes no sense to me as just a casual fan to be like, hey, let's put this really weird house.
Because I mean, he still has all the modern amenities of his home.
Oh,
you walk outside and you got this,
house.
Mud and stone structure.
It's not mud and stone, but
well, I mean, in the case of Daryl, like,
but it looks kind of dilapidated.
Yeah, it looks old world.
But compared to every other house in the neighborhood, it's like, where the fuck did this thing come from?
Right?
Did they move Herschel's farm over here?
His house was nicer.
No, maybe.
But that's what I'm getting at. And so there was that, and then you get the final scene where he's he says the whole mercy prevail and stuff, and then credits.
Really?
Well, actually, it finishes off with him like wrapping up his speech. It goes back to his speech again.
Oh, and unfortunately, King Ezekiel came back.
Okay, I was just about to say, our biggest hopes and dreams were shot down that he was going to stop this.
No, we need him and Rosita to be on the same page.
The King's speech continues.
Yeah.
The less you speak, the more dynamic you are as a character.
You're so great. Then you open your mouth, and it's like, it's like talking to that beautiful girl. It's like,
what is that movie? It's like the only time you need to open your mouth is by putting something in it.
That's awful. It's awful.
Yeah.
We need Kurt Russell from Hateful Eight to show up. And just elbow him in the face.
Oh, good.
They're real simple. When I elbow you in the face, that means shut up.
We're figuring this out.
Yeah.
We're on the same page now. So that's credits into the show. Episode 100 in the books. Kind of left abruptly. Again, I know we picked a lot of it apart, but overall, it was a lot of small details, but I really enjoyed the episode. I really did.
Yeah, no, I mean, I give this episode like a solid 7.
Yeah, I didn't even give it an 8, 8.5. I really enjoyed it. So that didn't bother me at all. The preview for next week.
It didn't give us a preview of next week.
It gave us a preview of like next 6, 7 episodes. Really,
preview of things to come.
That's even worse.
Next episode's liable to be just a boring slog through whatever. We don't know.
Considering they left us at the outposts, evidently that were like that.
Outpost and Negan situation.
Right. I'm going to say, based on what we discussed in our preview cast, which I'm not going to say spoiler, the next episode is going to have some tough spots in it.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a few deaths popping up.
I think I'm counting on one. Let me tell you.
Well, it was.
Well, I can tell you this: the preview did show me one death.
Okay.
And if you're a comic book reader, if you watched it, it was a quick cut to it, but that one death is going to make you cry. It's going to make you cry a bunch.
Ooh, I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean,
the 2 deaths I'm expecting, one you're going to be like, "Holy shit," and the other one be like, you're going to be crying.
You're going to be like, "Oh, Oscar, Rosita, it was a great scene."
Yeah, really.
That's even better scene you go.
I'm just going to put that out there. So, I mean, look, if you didn't listen to our preview cast or you need to listen. Trust me, you'll know what we're talking about and what to be expecting coming up. So,
yeah, I don't know. Andrew Lincoln said this season is whatever, like action-packed and difficult was his quote or whatever.
Well, I mean, they've already stated that several people die this season.
I mean, there
like
needs to be
several.
Yeah, I mean, as sad as
10.
it's going to be, like, I'm excited.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Where this show is going, they are gonna have to thin the herd to be able to afford where the show's
They
going.
even introduced us to more of Negan's crew just so we have people to die on Negan's side.
Right.
Tobin, no!
Yeah, really. Let's take a time out here. Yeah,
Which-
with your death.
I'm never sure season to season if Tobin's still alive. We saw him.
Oh yeah,
He's
he's
in
in
this
it.
episode.
Oh, yeah.
He's in it. Well, look, the chick with the bow and arrow. I'm not sure if I can hit that like that. Goner. Jerry, goner.
Oh, Jerry's-
Tobin, goner. You know, the two guys that were like, I got your back. Well, we just met. They're goners.
They're already
Black
dead.
lady that Maggie's always talking to.
Yeah.
Toast.
Goner. And then you're going to have at least two of your big characters.
Yeah.
I'm going Tara's goner. You know.
God, just please, Rosita. Just finally eat that bullet you've been wanting to eat forever.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. We're going to have to bake you a cake or something the day that Rosita dies.
I can't believe they didn't make Rosita the sniper. You know.
yeah, I know that of all the remixes, you know, like in the comic book, it's so much better that Andrea's alive in the comic book. I mean, nothing against Michonne and what they got going on in the show, but like the comic book, it just makes so much more sense.
Is that why they're trying to make Michonne a sniper?
Like Andrea is a sniper. Like
Yeah.
she was in the bell tower. They got the crap beat out of her, and they thought she's the one that got thrown over and
Gotcha.
killed like that. Like what happened with Michonne. That was all Andrea in the comic book.
No offense to that actress, but I couldn't see Andrea's cry face anymore.
Yeah, well,
That's fair.
I mean, but she looked just like the Andrea in the comic book. I mean, like she was a
Oh, no,
perfect
that's
casting. You know, like, whatever. I'm just telling you, like it would make more sense if Andrea was alive.
But Michonne's doing a great job, so.
She is.
We
I
get
mean, it's a cool remix. It's one less actor you have to pay for.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it.
Combine them. Why not?
You know, but it's going to cause some problems down the road. Big problems. But anyway, that's where comic book and this remix heavily, and so on. But other than that, I can't really think much else.
No,
I
that's
think
it,
we got
man.
it.
That's pretty wrapped up. Pretty well beaten to death.
I call it picked
But
apart.
I feel like we've got some really good stuff out of this.
Yeah. I think we lobster bibbed it.
Lobster bib is
Oh my
probably
God.
the new.
Hashtag lobster.
Oh,
bib.
no, that's definitely going to be in the Twitter. It's going to be hashtag lobster bib. Don't worry.
Yeah, yes. Guys, what about y'all? You know, we always say this at the end, but then when we start saying this at the beginning, what the hell do y'all think? I mean, I know we put some out on social media, but man, like I'm a part of like 18 Walking Dead groups. I just couldn't keep my head straight and putting comments with everybody in there and live tweet and all that kind of stuff like that. You know, but if you listen to our pod, what did y'all think? You know, were we off base? Are we picking it apart too much or whatever? I don't care. Just tell us what you think, man.
Yeah, we're probably
dying to
picking it apart a
know.
little too much, but hey, you know, that's why you come here.
Just hit us up with something. We're on email. We're on Twitter. We're on BleedTV. It's BleedTVpodcast@gmail.com. We're on Twitter at BleedTV Podcast. Facebook. We have a Facebook
YouTube.
page. You know, we're on YouTube. Anywhere you want to leave a comment or chat with us or whatever, we're wide open. You know, and if you're enjoying it, great. You got a second, give us a positive review. Go for it. We really appreciate it. It helps us out. And hope to continue to deliver free content going all the way through, you know, so that's who we are. So, but other than that, guys, I think we're going to call it a night. We're looking forward to next week. This is Bleed TV, and I'm Zach.
I'm Jake.
And I'm Cash.
Later.